Attention please. This uploading is only for educational purpose. No intention to infringe copyrights. Learning English with subtitles. GPITRAL. Follow us.
Caption: you're about to witness reenactments of real encounters with terrifying monsters and aliens.
Trapped in Bigfoot territory.
We got stuck in the mud. We were all pushing the vehicles. We said, you know what? We're gonna be dead in the water. We were not gonna get out.
Native Americans always told me, don't go there.
I got the camera ready, Jeff.
You're gonna have some Bigfoots that aren't very nice. We'd be more than willing to kill a human.
And from a Bigfoot attack, actual physical evidence recovered.
This could be the find of the century. Myth turned to reality. We don't know what it is.
A family harassed by an evil gnome.
I was afraid that it was going to try to come in the house and get one of my kids.
Don't go outside, okay?
I was scared to death. More scared than I'd ever been.
A neighborhood invaded by hellhounds.
I went out to lock the door, and all of a sudden, what in the world? I was scared to death. I mean, I was petrified.
Caption: monsters and mysteries, Bigfoot wars, evil gnome, hellhound.
200 miles east of San Francisco, in California's Central Valley, the edge of one of the largest wilderness areas in the lower 48 states, the Sierra Mountains. The region is so huge and secluded, some wonder if it's sheltering one of America's legendary beasts. A territory the giant cryptid seems willing to defend.
A forest darkens. Caption: Bigfoot wars. A hairy, upright creature walks through the forest.
Most scientists dispute its very existence. Yet over the past 90 years, the controversial creature has been seen and reported more than 3,000 times. While the infamous ape man is often associated with the Pacific Northwest, almost as many sightings occur in the Sierras than anywhere else in North America.
Where I think that Bigfoot would thrive at hiding would definitely be the Sierras, because if you get more than 100 yards off the road, you might be standing where nobody stood in 10 years.
A man primes a gun.
Growing up in these mountains, Alan Thomas didn't take the Bigfoot legends too seriously. Learning the tracks and signs of wildlife was his priority.
All my life I heard these stories about these things, and I really didn't believe it until I encountered it myself. In 1987, I was on one of my hunting trips. We picked a place that we were going to hike off the trail into the wilderness.
Reenactment: two hunters in thick woods.
We saw, at first, what I thought was a bear. It was just this black thing bent over in a bush.
Sensing the bear would be an easy kill, they moved closer.
Bigfoot appears in the gun sight.
And then the bear stood up. And it was a man.
Hey, don't shoot, don't shoot.
And I'm looking at this big, huge guy covered with black, shiny fur. And then it was like, oh my God, what is that? You know, I wanted to like look at it. I just wanted to see his face. So I started like trying to maneuver my rifle around, trying to get this Bigfoot in my scope.
He sees the hairy face through his gun sight and looks shocked.
And he started yelling. And he was swinging his arms like this. I felt like that if I took one step, I could leap all the way back to town. My whole body wanted to run. I felt like that scared.
go.
That freaked me out. Bad. I didn't go back to the mountains for 6 years.
A grassy plain.
From what I've learned in the Bigfoot world, usually they're pretty massive, at least 8 foot. Similar to Neanderthal, but bigger, which is why people are usually scared out of their mind if they have an encounter.
Alan Thomas had inadvertently stepped into contested terrain. According to some Native American legends, areas within the Sierras are aggressively guarded by Bigfoot, and they don't treat visitors kindly.
A Bigfoot could easily kill a human. They're much stronger and bigger than humans. They could kidnap you, take you off someplace, and maybe never hear from you again.
Bigfoot with a bad attitude. This side of the beast isn't as well known. Yet some researchers claim thousands of years ago, a full-scale war broke out with these creatures.
The Bigfoot Wars are an event that happened in the Sierras in prehistoric times. Native people believed that Bigfoots were cannibals and that they would often steal children and take them off and eat them.
A sketch of a Bigfoot holding a baby.
Kathy Strain is an archaeologist for the U.S. Forest Service, supervising tribal historical sites and artifacts. She claims that tribal elders imparted to her a secret history about a time when Native Americans and Bigfoot came to blows.
Moonlight on a lake, a teepee against a pale blue and pink sky, a campfire.
One day, a Bigfoot crossed over into the tribe's territory.
A Native American woman with a baby.
Stole a child and took it back.
The baby cries, the sky darkens.
And killed it and ate it. And so they had a gigantic war where the Native people were going to kill all the Bigfoots that were in that area.
Bigfoot plundered Indian villages. Indian warriors retaliated.
Native people had spears and bows and arrows and were more successful because all the Bigfoots had were stones and sticks.
Eventually, a peace was forged. Territories established.
Native American people have often told me that in those days and even today, that they reserve areas for Bigfoots to be. They don't have anything to do with those areas at all. They consider it to be Bigfoot territory.
The forest.
So what happens if you inadvertently cross into Bigfoot territory?
We could still have a Bigfoot up there that would be more than willing to kill a human, and either just to kill a human or to use it as a food resource.
After his own encounter, Alan Thomas didn't need convincing that Bigfoot was a potential threat.
It took 6 years to get over my fear. You're thinking, this dude's wandering around out there. He's fast, he's huge. He could probably just grab my tent like a backpack and carry me away.
Just as his fears were subsiding, Thomas learned of a remote location in the Sierras where Bigfoot lived. Lured by the prospect of confirming Bigfoot is real, Alan and his research buddies were ready to go.
I had to see for sure, did I really see that? Because after a little bit of time, you question yourself, even though you know you saw it.
Since I was a kid, people were telling me that, there was creatures up in the Sierras. While camping up in the mountains, there was always that in the back of my mind that what if there was?
Trying to answer that question would bring much more than these men ever bargained for.
I will always remember that day. It will be with me for the rest of my life until I die. There was eyes looking at me. It was unbelievable. It blew my mind.
Caption, Monsters and Mysteries. A map of California.
California, the sun-washed edge of America. More than 2/3 of its residents crowd along its famous coastline. But that leaves some 50,000 square miles of inland California nearly empty.
There's a lot of open space in California and a lot of unexplored areas. Not a lot of folks.
There's millions of acres of habitat, don't have any roads, they're not bisected by populations of humans.
It's in these isolated and forgotten places that monsters are rumored to reside.
Let's just say that there's some unknown things that go on here. As far as being mysterious, probably, definitely.
People seeing different creatures, 10 feet tall, creatures flying in the night sky. You have a lot of weird stories. It's one of those places.
Clouds billow over mountains.
In California's Sierra Mountains, legends persist about an ancient Bigfoot nation hidden deep in the forest. Some believe these are shy and gentle giants. Others assert that Bigfoot will defend its territory like King Kong. In 2011, Jeff Gonzalez, Alan Thomas, and their research buddies learned about a secret location for Bigfoot in the Sierras.
This particular valley, the Native Americans have always told me, don't go there. This place has got Bigfoot there. If you go there, something's gonna happen.
Warned to steer clear, they went anyway. 80 miles east of Fresno, a steep dirt road twists and climbs through conifer forest. Huge granite blocks loom over the landscape, backed by immense snowy peaks. A perfect sanctuary for a monster that doesn't want to be found.
Reenactment of the men driving.
We're in the middle of nowhere, down in this canyon, a little valley. It's about 2 hours away from anyone. You can't get phone service. It's far.